Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining Lewis University's television network. Today is Thursday, February 22nd, 2023. I'm Allison Lankowitz.
And I'm Samara Martinez. And we will begin with our top national stories.
Authorities in Florida have arrested a 19-year-old man in connection with the shooting deaths of 3 people, including a 9-year-old child and TV reporter Dylan Lyons on Wednesday. Orange County deputies believe Keith Melvin Moses is responsible for a shooting spree that began when he killed 38-year-old Natasha Augustin. Orange County deputies have taken Moses into custody and charged him with murder. They say he has a lengthy criminal history that includes gun charges and aggravated assault.
The Biden administration is expected to roll out a new asylum restriction as soon as Tuesday. The new rule would bar migrants who travel through other countries en route to the U.S.-Mexico border from applying the asylum in the U.S. Most migrants go through another country, if not several on their way to the United States. The new rule is reminiscent of a Trump rule dramatically limiting migrants' ability to claim asylums if they lived in or traveled through other nations before coming to the U.S. That policy had been blocked by federal courts.
A Virginia rescue team that went to Turkey and Syria to assist in the aftermath of the catastrophic earthquake there is now back home. The 79-member team consisted of first responders, doctors, engineers, and specialists. Half a dozen search and rescue dogs also tagged along. They spent 11 days searching in the rubble for survivors. On February 6th, a 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck both Turkey and Syria, killing 45,000 people in both countries.
U.S. home sales dropped in January for the 12th straight month, as mortgage rates remained elevated and stubbornly high prices kept buyers out of the market for its longest period of declining home sales on record, with records going back to 1999. It's also the weakest activity since 2010. According to the National Association of Realtors, existing home sales were nearly down 37% in January from a year ago. Higher interest rates were a big factor last January. The average rate for a fixed-rate mortgage was in the low to mid 3% range this year. Rates in January were nearly double that, in low to mid 6% range.
A massive cleanup effort continues in the wake of the Norfolk Southern derailment in Ohio nearly 3 weeks ago. The Biden administration is promising to make Norfolk Southern fully pay for all of the cleanup. It's dirty, difficult, and slow-going work. Those living in the building trust that the water and air is safe. The derailment occurred around 8:55 p.m. shortly after the train passed Market Street in downtown East Palestine. The EPA is now ordering Norfolk Southern to pay for the cleanup, the entire disaster zone.
Up next, we will have our 4th Lewis Spotlight of this semester.
Stay with us.
Maybe it's just the little moments. I could go back and change it all. If I could go back, I would. But I can't.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
Today I'm here with Dr. Larry Hill. Dr. Hill has been teaching economics here at Lewis University for the past 55 years, and he is our spotlight. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Hill.
Well, thank you for asking me.
So you have been teaching economics here at Lewis for the past 55 years. Could you tell me what led you to Lewis in the first place?
Well, it was during the Vietnam War. There was hard to get jobs for be college professors, but I decided I wanted to be one. So when I started my master's degree, I sat down and every weekend and made 4 letters out to all the schools in Indiana and Illinois. And Lewis was the first one that positively responded. They asked me to come up for an interview and said, "Do you know where Joliet is?" And I said, "Sure, I know where it is." And then as soon as I got off the phone, I ran to the library to find out a map so I could find out where Joliet was. And we took 2 buses to get here the next day. And I'll tell you, no one was more enthusiastic about getting the job. I never expected to be here 55 years, but when you start working for the brothers and you tie into the mission, it's hard to go anywhere else. So I ended up staying my whole adult life here.
Wow. Wow. And speaking of the brothers, could you tell me a little bit of their role and their foundation in Lewis University and how you feel so closely with them?
The brothers, I've never met a brother that I didn't like. They're humble people. They are dedicated to education. They're dedicated to the kids. If you have any time at all, starting with Brother Paul French, who the LRC is named after, was the president when I got here. All the brothers, Brother Neil Gaffney, I'm sorry, Brother Neil was interim president for a period of time. Brother James Gaffney was without Brother James Gaffney, the school wouldn't be here. The school got itself into trouble with some administrators during the 1970s, and it was only on Brother Gaffney's reputation that we were able to get a loan and bridge to the time where we could come back. And Brother David Delahanty came in after that, and between him and Brother James, over the next 35 years, the school just grew, and the brothers' mission became more and more important to everybody. And if you buy into the mission, you're a brother's boy from then on in.
That's truly incredible. So, for my next question, you actually have your own textbook, correct?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, could you tell me?
Actually,
Tell me a little bit about that and the process that you had drafting it up.
well, it takes took me about 10 years to put it together. We had all our biographs and we put the prose to it and got it published. So each of the when they go to my class, all the biographs are explained and in the book, and we've enjoyed that. I wrote all the books for all my classes, but now I'm only teaching the basic macro classes that takes up all my time.
Gotcha. Yes, I'm sure you've been very busy. So could you tell me a little bit about the Adam Smith Award that you're notorious about here at Lewis? Could you tell me what it means to you and what someone has to do to get this award?
Well, we started that now about 25 years ago, a little over 20 years ago, actually 22. We took a little time off of COVID. We didn't want to get everybody together. But the idea was to bring back a Lewis alumni business person that had made a success so we could show our students, the people who sat in their seat 30 years ago had great success. And this year's awardee is a person who, from the very beginning, the first day we met him, he was a hard worker, and he absolutely loved what he did, and that's what we're going to try to show the students this year. So we have all of our students gather for his presentation, and he gets the award for the year. And there's a dinner afterwards for him and his family. But this year's award winner is Dennis Redwanski, and coming out of the COVID years, working hard is something that, and being dedicated to what you do is the highest of priorities in this time. And that's why we chose Dennis. He's the owner of Independence Towing. And his father had a towing service before him, and I can tell you that I've not not met anybody that works harder and loves their job more,
That's amazing. Wow.
or at least as much as I do, right?
Yeah, that's incredible. So, I mean, after teaching here for the last 55 years, I imagine you've had some very memorable moments. I was wondering if you could share some of your favorite memories with me, or just anything that's been memorable that you've experienced in some of your classes.
I think the thing that makes me feel the best is the alumni. When there's very little places I can go anymore after I've taught 27,000 students. So when I go into a restaurant or in Disney World in Florida, I had a fellow come up to me just the last time we were there and said that he had me in class 10 years ago when he had his family there and they wanted to take a picture and
Wow.
all. That's the kind of thing that makes you feel like you've made a contribution. I think the one that sticks in my mind the most is we were in the funeral line for Don Cordano, and I want to point out that the school started out a very small school when I was there. There was only 800 students, and the faculty were very close. We had progressive dinners, and the people that were on the business staff were all not only educators, but they all had their own businesses. So they had the expertise that went with the what they were teaching, and the people that they put out during that time. The alumni are have been an absolute success. Don Cordano and Roger Ashby in accounting, and Nick Benassi in aviation. Those are the kinds of names that your students won't recognize, but they're the ones that set up the groundwork for the ability for to build on what we have today, the education and the dedication to education and the expertise they brought in. I ended up having a dual appointment for 44 years at Argonne Labs,
Wow.
where I headed up the economics and social science section for 9 years and worked on the ALD staff after that. So that kind of experience you just simply
Right.
can't replace.
Right.
I was going to tell you one little experience that I was in the funeral line of Don Cordano, and it went for miles. I mean, they opened it up 2 hours early, and
Yeah.
they had to stand in line for it all. There was a fellow, about 10, 15 people in front of me, kept staring at me, so I knew it had to be one of my ex-students. He came back to me and he said, "Dr. Hill, I had you in 1972.
Oh
I
my.
said, "What?" And this is in 2015, 2016. So he had me 30 years ago. And he said, "You know what I remember from your class?" And he went in through one of the most detailed economic theories, and he did it as if I taught it the day before. And I thought, man, I did my good job that day.
Right.
30 years later, he can
And
bring this right back to me.
yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that it makes it worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
and-
Absolutely. So, Dr. Hill, I have time for one last question. So, what is something that you want your students to remember you by as you close off your 55th year of teaching here at Lewis?
I think I want them to remember that I was fair, that I worked them hard, that I gave them something that was important for their lives, that they could use the rest of their lives, and that they had fun.
That's amazing.
If they do that, then I've done my job.
Right.
We get kids at the I gave a talk in Manaus, Brazil once, and it's an island where the Amazon River starts. And on one side it starts with a black river, and the other side it starts with a brown river, and for 7 miles it doesn't mix. And that's really what we get. And then we get the kids coming out of the background from high school,
Right.
and then they get to their freedoms, and we get a chance at that particular time when it's all mixing together for that river
Exactly.
to influence their lives, and you can't ask for any more than that.
You really can't. Well, Dr. Hill, that's all the time that I have. Thank you so much for joining us today and being our spotlight. And congratulations on your 55th year of teaching. And we will have more
Okay.
news and weather. Thank you so much, Dr. Hill. Stay with us.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all. If I could go back, I would. But I can't.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
The city of Chicago has agreed to settle one of 3 lawsuits brought against the city and Lieutenant Jason Brown. CPD officer Xavier Chisholm filed the federal lawsuit back in March of 2022. The lawsuit alleges that Lieutenant Brown conducted an unwarranted search of public records that were tied to Chisholm by using LexisNexis, a subscription service that searches public record databases. Chisholm also alleges that his lieutenant attempted to force him to falsely say that the search was consented. Details of the settlement were not disclosed, and Lieutenant Brown currently has 2 others pending against him.
The long 3-year wait has finally come to an end. The 11-time Tony Award-winning musical, Hamilton, will continue its legacy, returning to Chicago after 3 years. It will return for a limited run beginning on January 13, 2023, at the James M. Netherlander Theater, located at 24th West Chicago Street, West Randolph Street in Chicago.
Chicago Public Schools are looking to increase their safety measures in the next few years. CPS made the announcement Wednesday that they will be implementing and updating security cameras across 331 elementary and high schools. The cameras are deemed as part of CPS's comprehensive safety initiatives and will cost a total of $76.3 million. Once installed or updated, they will provide on-site visible footage to CPS's central security team, along with the OEMC and Chicago Police Department.
Late Tuesday, a 57-year-old man was found shot in the head in what appeared to be an unoccupied commercial business on the south side of Chicago. He was pronounced dead at the scene by police and was later to be identified as Bartholomew Beal. There appears to be witnesses that saw a man running from the scene. No arrests have been made. Chicago detectives are still investigating.
Well, Chicago Blackhawks fan favorite Patrick Kane may have played his last home game as a Blackhawk on Tuesday. The Hawks faced off against the Vegas Golden Knights in an absolute thriller. With just seconds left in a tie game, the MVP grabbed a loose puck and put it in the back of the net at the buzzer. That goal was later waved off as it just barely crossed the line after the clock ran out. The Hawks would win the match in overtime, but with Kane completing the final year of his contract, they still may be losing their beloved number 88. When we return, we will have our entertainment news.
And later we will have your weather and sports update.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She She talks to her mom a lot.
60 years to life in prison. That's a punishment for the man convicted in the shooting of the death rapper Nipsey Hussle. Eric Holder was sentenced during a hearing in Los Angeles on Wednesday. A jury determined that Holder shot Hussle outside the hip hop's artist clothing store in March 2019. He was also convicted on 2 counts of attempted voluntary manslaughter for injuring 2 other men in the incident, for which he was sentenced to an additional 10 years.
Paul McCartney is collaborating with the Rolling Stones. The former Beatle plays bass on one track for the Stones' new album. It's their first since drummer Charlie Watts died in 2021. The Beatles and Stones have been so-called rivals for more than 50 years, but they've worked together in the past. McCartney and John Lennon actually wrote the Stones' first hit, I Wanna Be Your Man, and 4 years later, Stones frontman Mick Jagger was in the studio when the Beatles recorded All You Need Is Love.
Michael B. Jordan is bringing his Adonis Creed character to life with a cool new concept, answering your doorbell. People's Magazine reports the actor has teamed up with Ring doorbell cameras to make pre-recorded messages. Ring's smart doorbell system alerts users that someone is at their door and then allows them to see, hear, and speak to visitors from a phone, tablet, or computer. Now users can download Jordan's responses to play anytime someone rings their doorbell. For example, in one of the clips, Jordan says, "Oh, hey, yeah, they're training with me, Adonis Creed. I said, jab, jab, leave them a message." Jordan directed and stars in Creed 3, which hits theaters March 3rd.
The first 2 episodes of a new podcast with best-selling author J.K. Rowling are out. Rowling has previously come under fire for making inflammatory comments about transgender people. Her words have disappointed many of Harry Potter fans and even some of the actors in the Harry Potter film series. In the podcast, Rowling is supposed to be addressing the controversial comments, but she didn't do so in the episodes released Tuesday.
The Oscars is adding a crisis communications team to its awards ceremony this year. Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences CEO Bill Kramer says rapid response professionals will be on hand during the March 12th broadcast. The move follows Will Smith's shocking slap of comedian Chris Rock during last year's show after he made a joke about the King Richard star's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. Smith said in an interview months after the altercation that he lost it when he put his hands on Rock. Smith is now banned from an Academy events for 10 years. Up next, we will have your weather forecast.
Then we will have your Lewis Sports Update. Stay with us. And now for your 7-day weather forecast. So today has been partly cloudy with a high of 36 degrees and a low of 21. Tomorrow we're looking at another cloudy day, 27 degrees high and 26-degree low. But moving into the weekend, we will have quite a bit of sunshine. It's going to be partly sunny on Saturday with a high of 40 and a low of 31. Moving into Sunday, we'll see some of that same sun. 43-degree high and a 36-degree low, but moving into the next week, we will get some of that rain back on Monday, but it will be quite a bit warmer at 54 degrees high, 32 degrees low, but continuing on into the week, that sunshine will be back. Do not worry on Tuesday, partly sunny, 43-degree high and a 33-degree low, and similar weather again the next day on Wednesday with a high of 46. And now we will have your Lewis University Sports Update.
and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
The Lewis women's basketball team is on a hot streak after winning their 7th straight game. The Flyers defeated Rockhurst 74-62 on Senior Day this past Saturday. Leaders of the game were Catherine Schmidt with 21 points and 2 blocks, Grace Hilber with 18 points and 4 assists, and Taylor Galuza with 8 rebounds. The Flyers were able to maintain their lead from halftime 31-23 to cement the victory. Flyers are on the road tonight to play Missouri at Missouri S&T. Start time 5:30.
Roberts Wesleyan University 18-12 on Sunday. The Flyers racked up 7 goals in the first period alone, followed by 4 in the period, 6 in the third, and 1 in the top performances. Baden Boyenko scoring 5 goals in the match. The Flyers are back on the road next week off against Lenore Rhine on Sunday.
The Lewis men's and women's track team competed at the Lee Slick Invite this past Friday at North Central College. The women placed third with 131 points. The men's team placed second with 136 points. Some main highlights from this meet were Selena Tucker and Reese Kodanda ran the 30-meter dash. Tucker finished in 8.4 seconds and Kodanda finished in 7.8 seconds. For the 1-mile run, Carly Shipman and Ian Morrison finished with great times. Shipman finished in 5 minutes and 19 seconds, and Morrison finished in 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Congratulations to each Flyer that participated in this track meet. Lewis track team will be in action again this weekend, February 25th and February 26th, as they travel to Indianapolis for the GLVC Indoor Track and Field Championship meet.
The Lewis University Athletic Department their 4th annual Fire Red Dinner on Thursday, March 6th at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. The dinner is a fundraising event for the athletic department and all 23 of the Flyers sports teams. Cocktail hour begins at 5 p.m. followed by dinner at 6. Dinner will conclude by honoring the inductees of the Hall of Fame class of 2023.
The Lewis women's tennis team lost a close one to Grand Valley State University 4-3 this past Saturday. For the single matches, we had Casey Smith lose a close one, Anastasia Salenko win, Benedicta Lucone win, Gru Soufflon lost a one, Annabelle Aguilar also lost a tough one, Sage Hill won her match. In the 3 doubles matches, we suffered 2 tough losses and 1 win. Lewis women's tennis is back in action tomorrow, Friday, February 24th, as the Flyers host the Superior State at the 5-Star Tennis Club in Plainfield, Illinois, starting at 7:30 a.m. And that's it for today's news. Thank you for watching. As a reminder, you can always keep up with Lewis University Television Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and by visiting our YouTube channel. I am Samara Martinez.
And I'm Allison Lankowitz. Have a great night.